It's considered a complicated way of electing public representatives, and Ireland is only one of 2 countries in Europe, along with Malta, that use it. And as seen in the recent European elections, proportional representation with a single transferable vote, or PR-STV, can mean that counting of the votes could take a long time to complete. Despite that obvious drawback, PR-STV is considered a fair way of electing politicians. It begins with the ballot paper, where voters rank the candidates, putting a number 1 beside their first preference candidate, and so on down the line. Selecting your preference becomes crucial when it comes to the counting of the vote and choosing who gets elected. When all the ballots are cast and the polling day is over, then the count begins. The first thing that needs to be calculated is the quota for the constituency. The quota is the number of votes needed to be elected. Essentially, it is the number candidates need to reach that guarantees they will not be overtaken. Once this is calculated, the counting of the votes begins, starting with the first preference votes. If a candidate reaches the quota and surpasses it on this first count, they will be deemed elected. When a candidate surpasses the quota, their surplus of votes will be distributed to the second preference candidate on each ballot. However, if no one reaches the quota on that count, then the candidate with the lowest number of votes is excluded. From there, their votes are distributed according to the second preference votes, called the second count. This is where your preference for candidates is vital, as your ballot continues to be used in the subsequent counts. If you only choose your first preference, then your say will only be taken into account on that first count. The distribution of votes is also known as transfers, something you will hear a lot following the election counts. Candidates are most likely to be transfer friendly to other candidates in their political party or to a candidate whose political views are similar. Candidates will continue to be elected or excluded and votes transferred until all the seats in the constituency are filled. There is, of course, the potential for a recount to be called. This usually happens when a count gets too close and candidates are separated by a small number of votes. If this happens, there's a repeat of the previous count, also known as a recount, with candidates hoping they will gain just enough votes to stay in contention. You can follow all election 2024 coverage on the Irish Independent.